Okay, good afternoon everyone. This is just a recap or a little recording of what we discussed this morning with all the residential students. I just wanted to keep the distance students up to speed as well on what we're discussing, and basically just trade some of the ideas that's going around on the research, and to share some insight, some challenges that the guys have with each other, so that we can hopefully address some questions before it pop up with all the students. So yes, so there's a couple of items that I just highlighted here, and I'm just briefly going to go through them. Maybe I'll have one or two just screenshots to show you some additional information, examples that we can maybe look at, for instance referencing and so on, as examples. So starting off with our first item is a few general items. So please remember to always indicate the text referencing, whether it is online or what the page numbers is or are. So basically, if you're doing your references, they should always, in the text, there should always be either a page number or there should be stated whether it's online or not. And what you should also look at is, if you do summarize a section of an author that runs over more than one pages, you can highlight more those pages. For instance, if someone's talking about concept analysis or a similar topic, you can list that you got the information from pages 1 to 5 of that specific book. And then looking at item 2 is one page number per in the text. Per text reference is preferable. However, when summarizing a few pages or an idea of an author, then you may reference multiple pages. So that's basically what I just said. Then you've got then the other thing is basically punctuation. Please have all your full stops behind the brackets of a sentence. I do get quite a lot of references where the full stop is before the reference, not behind it. So please just make sure that you've got that correct. Then justify your text. Yeah, that's a general thing, but usually I think there's one or two guys that's still doing that. So just make sure that you've got your layout correct from the start. Otherwise, you're going to struggle later on when just to get everything correct. And then use your outline or styles within your within Word, and make sure that you have that underneath the belt now already, because trying to fix your outline and your styles later on will cause a little bit of headaches and delays. So please make sure that you've got that. You can also use the template that I provided. Then also combine your paragraph which has the same author. If they follow on each other, please do not use the same author paragraph after paragraph. So just make sure that you try and combine and make a logical statement from an author, then make another statement by another author. Is it similar? Or you can combine your paragraph and list more than one author. And then always remember that you make the statements and then you need to interpret it. Otherwise, either at the end of that section or just after that. So please note that that's to make that distinction between what you are saying and what actual statement you're referencing. So that has to be very clear when you working on your dissertations. Okay, rather reference an article as an article and not as a online reference. Always go to the main source if possible. So yeah, this is very important. Make sure that that you get the The less online resources you have, the more credible your research becomes, and the more weight it carries. So please make sure that you do that. If you can't find it, then the online resources are you can use as well. Okay, for instance, the B1M channel that many of you guys are using is fine. Just try and limit that amount of research or referencing, and also try and mix in some journals and articles and so on. Okay, then when referencing more than one person for the first time, please write everyone's name before you use it all, and then from there on you can use it. Okay, so please go through the red book. It's very important that you guys go through that. Okay, and then just a bit of a rhetorical or question that sometimes does pop up is, please let me know if you cannot read the comments. I make comments on Word like this. I think most of you are up to speed, but I did have one or two questions before on where's the comments that I was talking about. So just make sure that you've got that. Okay, then the other items that I just saw is, please use the Blackboard guide as your principal guide. For instance, I gave you an example, but it's only example. Your Blackboard guide is the ultimate guide on which you will be marked. So please make sure that you actually use that one and not the example that I given. The example that I'm giving is an example to assist you in writing or answering the questions that's in the Blackboard guide. And then the chapter structure gives a short outline of each chapter, what you will look at. Do not include theories and conclusions. So your chapter outline is a very short outline of what your chapters will look like. You will first look at the definition of this and this and this before comparing it with this, and ultimately you will make a conclusion of this. So that's a very short summary of what your chapter structure should look like, and your conclusions and introductions in your of your chapters will look similar to that. Okay, so make sure that your questions relate to your hypothesis or hypotheses. So please, if you have only one hypothesis, then write hypothesis. If you have more than one, write hypotheses. Same with the questions. If you have one question, only write question. If you have more than questions, you have a main question and a sub question. Okay, and thus your heading should be plural. Okay, please you make sure that you use the word cited. Sorry, yeah, this is the spelling mistake that I had. This is supposed to be a C. That is a C, if you were wondering. Okay, so in your text references when referencing someone, or which you do not have the original text. So example of this is if you're referencing, for instance, Albert Einstein within a book written by Vincent, then your reference should be Vincent, but before Vincent you write cited colon Vincent 2016 and then the page number. But in your text you would say Einstein said this. Okay, I hope it makes sense. If you do struggle, please refer to the red book. Otherwise you can mail me if you have a specific question on that. Okay, then research in a nutshell, just something which I added is your reference more than one person and then make conclusions of those statements. That's basically what research is. So you make a couple of statements from different resources or authors. Okay, so what I was saying is you reference more than one person and then make a conclusion of those two statements. Basically you're learning from other people. That's all that you're basically doing. So your conclusion is usually the golden thread that you write into your dissertation. Okay, and then getting to when using an abbreviation for the first time, please write it out and write the abbreviation in brackets. From then on, you may use the abbreviation. Also think of using the abbreviation list at the start of the project or of your work. It's best to actually have both. Okay, then just one thing that I want to highlight. One or two of you want to use a abbreviation or a resource, like for instance the Project Management Institute, as a reference. If you do use that for the first time and you use PMI, just in brackets behind your reference, please add a bracket and then you state the abbreviation, or PMI is the abbreviation for Project Management Institute. Okay, so please have a look at the red book whether you can find that. Also, if you do struggle, you can mail me with regard to it. And then lastly, when referencing more than one author, please use "and" in the text reference, and reference list. Okay, and if you're not using brackets and it's in your text. So for instance, if you saying in your text, if Sigli said that this is the case, then Sigli and Sigal, then you would use this "and". If you saying it is said that this is the case, and then you have your two authors, Sigli and Sigal, in brackets, then you use your @ sign, and in your reference list you use the "and" sign. So I hope this was relevant for you guys and helpful. Please do mail me if you do have any other questions. Good luck, and yeah, we'll talk again. Thanks. Bye.